I did it 24 hours in advance, and I wasn't clear. And so they sent me back, and I had to do it again, and I still wasn't clear. And so I had to pay for the medication the third time around, which wasn't very expensive, but I that time I went 36 hours instead of 24 and was clear. So now in the future, I know 36 hours is what I've got to do. The doctor did say, though, that that was the cleanest colon he had ever seen in his entire life. You're muted, sir.
Yeah, you're muted, and I'm just like, wow, that is a note on a medical chart. That there's like a badge there that you just get.
It's got the emblem up here. I believe that you are, in fact. There you go. Nope, can't hear you.
Nope. Try one more time, Paul. One more time.
Nope.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live and have been live, and you are watching all of the troubleshooting as it goes through.
Well, you know, can you hear me?
Were we talking about colonoscopies during the live show?
Here's the problem.
I can't remember when. I didn't see when he zapped me, so he could have had me talking live colonoscopies.
You were talking live colonoscopies because I said we're going live.
Yeah, but you were muted, so no one actually heard you.
Would you like to know why?
Because your microphone sucks?
No, because StreamYard decided it was going to switch over to my other microphone.
Hi,
it's 2024, and it sucks absolute complete ass, including 36 hours it took to get Terry clean.
So basically, 2024 is the year of the colonoscopy, right? That's what it is.
So we have to pretty much go through and process all this shit until we can clear things up, and then approach the year. Is that the metaphor that we're going through here?
It sounds about right. Yeah. It sounds about right.
Ironically, 2024 is, in fact, the year of my colonoscopy. I have to get one this year. So there we go.
I'm pretty sure 2024 needs a colonoscopy because already this is like an impacted bowel moment.
That's pretty much where I was getting at when I was making the commentary about 2024. Yeah.
Wow.
I guess we should move on from bathroom humor and say, howdy, folks, and welcome to another episode of the Dev Robot Society. I am Paul E. Cooley. Joining me, as always, Veronica Jacquer and Terry Boom Boom Mixon.
Boom Boom.
We're going to get to that later. No wonder he's shrieking into the microphone. He's fucking deaf.
Hey, I have a great microphone or a great headset that I take to the range. Noise canceling. I can hear people talk around me. It's great.
I don't believe it. I
true.
don't believe it at all. I don't believe it at all. So it's 2024, and how are things going, V?
Oh, well, let's see. We've started the show, and I'm already therapy crocheting, so that should tell you about, how my year's starting out. I am, however, using one of my cool Christmas presents that the Mighty Ginger got me because it's a nifty crochet hook that has a light on the end of it. Look at that. It's like a sonic screwdriver for crafters. There are also buttons where you can use it to count stitches and rows, but I'm just using the light. Anyway, what? Don't give me that look.
Yeah,
anyway,
Dean, we need to go full Karen on 2024.
I get an award for not going full Karen yesterday. So, I have started, so within the first week of 2024, I have already finished, I've started and finished an audiobook. I finished one this morning and delivered it. So yeah, productivity. And I'm pretty sure that Terry would love this book because at the end, the heroine gives her nemesis to her pet cat and he eats her.
I approve.
See, I thought so. So that was good. However, yesterday on the way to bowling practice for my daughter, a child, because the person who rear-ended my car was probably no older than my oldest, so child. He used his late model Ford Mustang GT to put a dent in the back of my suburban assault vehicle. And while I use it to haul children and raise hell. I mean, that's suburban assault vehicle.
Look,
It's valid. It's totally valid.
I'm not a family person, so I don't. I just think it's funny. SUV became SAV. Anyway, continue.
Okay, so kid managed to put a dent. I mean, let's think about this. To put a dent into an SUV with a sports car, I'll give him props. However, because there's a hitch on the back of my car, he now has a softball-sized hole in the front of his Mustang's bumper. And because he'd never been in a car accident before and was entirely too honest, which I appreciate, but he straight up admitted to the officer that, yes, he was looking at his phone. He was distracted. It was all his fault, and he was very sorry. So I just nodded and smiled and said thank you and got his information and noted that the insurance wasn't under his name. So he's probably having a very long conversation with his mommy about why his premium is going to triple. So
fun.
And it's already high to begin with.
I know, having to have had 2 teenage boys on car insurance briefly at the same time. Yeah. So, it's not a wonderful start to the year. Could have been better, but things will improve. I hope. Terry?
Well, I haven't had bad things happen to me this year yet, but people around me have had bad things happen to them.
Oh dear, you're the eye of the hurricane.
It's a pretty broad hurricane, but yeah. For writing anyway, I've been busy doing other things, so I've gotten 1 writing day in this year. But that's okay. I'll hit it.
Okay.
I had to spend 2 of those days doing editing tasks for the novel that I just turned in. So it's not like I totally ignored book-related things. But and yesterday I decided I was going to go to the range and empty the test rounds that I had built before the coronavirus came around so that I would have the test data that I was originally supposed to get for the powder weights and the bullets that I was using on all the pistols that I have. And I thought there was no real reason to get more than 1 target. So I posted in the live channel the target that I blew up with probably 700-800 rounds, maybe more of damage. I turned it into confetti. I did.
That is
It's very much not moving anymore.
An unconscionable amount of ammunition used on a solitary target. I'm sorry.
The range officer was complaining that I turned. The range officer was complaining that I turned it into confetti that he was now going to have to sweep up.
Jesus Christ! What the fuck was the point of that?
The point of it is I was concerned.
That paper.
I was concerned with the function of the pistol, whether it cycled, whether it ejected, how it felt. I wasn't really concerned about the grouping, so I didn't care that there was, only 1 target.
I'm just saying, you must have really hated that paper. That's all.
When I
paper do to you?
When I went back out, I couldn't retrieve the thing because I had been there so long that the little monorail that takes it out froze, so I couldn't actually retrieve the target. But I took a picture of it, obviously, and when I showed it to the people out front, I said, "I think I winged him," and they're like, "No, I think you at least got a flesh wound."
I think you did what one would call a bullet lobotomy.
Oh no! This was vaporization. This was something completely different.
Thankfully, I got lots of data. I still need to make it. I need to load up a bunch of other rounds to test some different powders that I've gotten since then. So I'll have another trip where I go up there and blow up a bunch of ammunition again. So they'll get the chance for me to see that. On the bad side of this year, somebody that I know had a stroke on January 1st.
Oh dear.
I don't know yet how badly it is. From what he said, he believed they were going to let him out of the hospital yesterday, and he said that he's got most of his memory back. So I don't know what implications physically or mentally that's going to have for him. My wife's oldest daughter got the diagnosis that she has issues with her heart, ventricular thickening of the heart wall that she's going to have to deal with. And that sounds relatively serious. So those two things rolled around in 2024, and I know that there's a third one lurking in my head, but I can't quite remember what it is.
Oh dear.
Lovely.
So 2024 rolling out to suck.
2024, I got something for you. I've been editing. I'm going back through Evolution and spending probably, I don't know, an hour every 2,500 words, at least. Editing, tightening things up, and then making a ton of notes and checking it twice and thrice and everything else, and getting some timeline stuff that I never did before, which will really help with shoring up Evolution or Extinction as well. And I'm actually enjoying the book, which I didn't think I would, but I am. So that's a good thing, I guess. But things have been a little slow because there's a lot of extended family things going on, my mom's getting treatment for cancer, and there's some other stuff going on in the household. So I've been a little stressed thin in a lot of places, and we'll try and completely get back on the horse next week. But that's pretty much what's been going on with me, and 2024 can just basically bite me. The hell was that?
There's a hockey game on. Excuse me, I'm going to mute this and you can see me yell at people.
Go beat your children. Beat them. Beat them. Did I mention 2024 could bite me? Hi, V. How you doing?
Hi. They just proceeded to yell even louder when I said they could be heard. I told them they sounded like a pack of wolves. And they said, but it's a goal. I'm like, great. The hockey
See
game.
this? Here's a pillow. Shove it in your face. So this kind of brings up an interesting question that we kind of talked about in live chat. How in the ever-loving hell are we keeping ourselves on track at this point? We've already got distractions. We already have plans we made. We already had all this stuff kind of laid out.
Laid out our goals, and here comes life, ready to roll you down.
Here comes life. So, basically, there's all these things I can do, and I'm trying to do while I'm having to do other stuff, because I have to leave the house a lot now to ferry people back and forth to appointments and all sorts of other stuff. So how am I going to keep on that track of trying to get this book edited and ready for print, by the end of January? How am I going to get that done? Basically nipping away at it whenever I can, whenever I've got the brain function to do it. That's what I'm doing, is basically going in and nipping away at it. And sometimes I mean to go in there for like 10 or 20 minutes and work on a couple of paragraphs or whatever. And then next thing I know, it's an hour and a half later and I've done another chapter. So it's just a matter of, and then I have to pay for that later. But the time, I got to nip it. I got to basically keep following it and making sure I keep going after the pieces that I can, put it all together, make notes. And when I get distracted, leave myself a note saying, here's where you were, here's what you were thinking, idiot. Now go take care of business. And that's more or less the only thing I could do at this point, because anything else is madness. Oh, I'm going to work for the next 8 hours. No, I'm not. I don't have the strength right now. I just don't. So basically get in there and then work on, doing what you can when you can, and making sure that you are doing it. You don't have an excuse not to do it. It just means sit down for 10 to 20 minutes, get something done. Even if it's just a paragraph, even if it's just this, that, and the other, that's what's got to get done to make that happen.
Brett is asking, whose dog is that? If you can hear stuff commenting, that's not my dog. That is my daughter cheering on a hockey game.
She needs help.
Terry, you're muted.
Why is Terry muted? Oh,
There you go.
I muted because I was typing, and see, I forgot that I was muted, so that makes no difference. You should go ahead and mute yourself and tell her that everybody in the podcast thinks that she's a baying retriever.
no, she's a bang hound.
Why should I mute myself? This is going to be great
Oh!
fun. Hang on. Small ginger child. People think that you're a baying retriever. People think that you're a baying retriever and they can hear you. Baying retriever.
What is that?
Oh!
Yes, like a wolf.
Nice.
The comment I got was,
The beatings.
So,
many
hey.
beatings.
I guess, yay, there's your comic relief for the show. The 15-year-old who is probably going, fight, get him.
The unrepentant 13-year-old.
Yeah. Oh, and
I'm not sure how to parse that.
yeah, Brett, no, they do not have, she does not have, sorry, our team does not have a Stanley Cup. They almost got there. Anyway. So, all right. Don't let go to your head, JR. But this is a very good question. So, if like when life gets you down and you don't have time for words, how do you keep yourself relevant?
Relevant?
Well, I guess relevant.
Were we relevant to begin with?
engaged. Well, yeah. Relevant might not be the right word, but how do you keep yourself moving forward, engaged, still, even if you've like stopped on the path, how do you keep yourself on the path so you're able to, move forward?
He's responding to Michael Wally.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say if this is how he keeps himself relevant, I'm not sure that's working out for you.
Well, I mean, I get it. It's how you. Okay, so he says relevant to the consumers of what you produce, as in they're aware that you still exist. So how do you stay on the radar?
You got to keep publishing. You've got to keep putting something out. Even if it's just you being on Facebook or sending out a newsletter, you've got to keep putting something in front of their faces or they're going to forget who you are.
Yeah. And I mean, I struggle with this all the time because I'm not necessarily a content producer. I can put out stuff to advertise other people's things, but then sometimes it's just, it's posting something over on Instagram or Facebook about something I'm working on, or I mean, I make it easy around the holidays because I can post stuff about food or stuff that I've baked or just, little things, but it is challenging. And when I think it's even more difficult when you're getting kicked around, because then you've got to summon the energy and the executive function to go, oh, what do I do next? When all that you really want to do is just kind of recharge, but you can't because there are a million other things that are happening. So, I mean, it's difficult, and everybody has to find their own thing.
One of the hardest things that any creative or any human being maybe has to deal with is when you find that something in life has intruded in what you'd like to do, and you have to deal with other things. In some cases, that's just random life things. It's your family you've got to take care of. You've been in a car accident. Something else has happened. Some other major disruption to the ordered business of your life. And sadly, sometimes when those things happen, you have to step away from what you're doing and deal with those crises. And when you're done with those, then you have to find a way to worm yourself back into producing again. if anyone tells you, oh, you could just keep riding through whatever trauma is going on, that is not the case. Sometimes you have to stop and deal with the situation as it is, because while it might not be more important than your creative career, sometimes it can be more pressing than your creative career.
Yeah.
You talked about that, and producing new work, and I mentioned this last week. I've got basically Evolution, Oceania, and Extinction are coming out this year. Definitely coming out this year, as well as An Ancient Trap. That's a done deal. So at least 3 of those books are a done deal. Extinction, it's going to happen, but it might not, but it will. Those are not new words, none of them except for Extinction. New words as in my patrons haven't seen them. So what I'm working on right now, as far as editing and everything else, that means they're not going to gain new fiction content. So what am I going to do to keep getting money from them? That's a really good question. I don't have an answer for it. The only thing I can do is basically offer reviews. Like my product review on the Throne Bidet.
On the what of the day?
Throne Bidet.
I don't know what the Throne version of a bidet is.
It's the brand. It's the brand.
Is it like an add-on to your
existing?
It's an
add-on, yeah.
Well, then tell us more. You've got our interest.
Does it come with
tell
a
us
crown?
more.
It's not electric. It's completely self-cleaning. It is a wonderful thing. I had never used a bidet before, and I was like, oh, okay, well, this is interesting. And I went, oh, it's set at the lowest setting. And then I jacked it up. That's the wrong words to use. Then I cranked it up and just about blasted my balls through the toilet.
It's like the water pick for your butt.
Yeah, pretty much. So, word to the wise, if you're starting out, go with low settings. But it's bracing this time of year. I'll put it that way.
I would imagine that's true.
It's bracing.
Here we go. Let's go back to telling you a story from my youth.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. When I grew up, my parents lived in the country, way deep in the country. Their idea of flowing plumbing water was they had a big water tank that through gravity drained to get to the house and get the water pressure. However, during the winters, that was some seriously cold water to take a shower with. Allow me to assure you.
Anyway, I will go look up Throne Bidet on Amazon if you have any questions about it. It's actually really neat. I'm glad I got it. I'm still getting used to it. But it definitely beats the hell out of toilet paper. Usually having to use a lot of toilet paper. It definitely beats the hell out of that. So that's my product review for your bidet. This has been Bidet Chat. Should anything
I search? Is it spelled throne? Maybe I'm misspelling bidet. How do you spell it?
THRONE space BIDET.
There we go.
I'm absolutely clean, Rick. It's Terry that's got problems.
Wow, it's got like buttons and everything.
Yeah. It's got a whole command console.
This is not the sci-fi extension that I was looking for in today's chat. I mean, now we're going to have to talk about the Sonic versions for our generation shift, and how you'd incorporate this into your
You shall never have mud butt again. The Danites will come eat it all and just recycle it or something. I don't know. End up eating your food next week.
I've posted a link to it in the live channel for those of us that are going to rush right out and get ourselves these bidets.
How does it handle zero gravity? I'm not sure how I handle zero gravity. I don't even want to think how it does it. Human bidet, werewolf the night. Oh, that's bad, Rick. You're fired. That's horrible. That's horrible. Bad. It does not have a USB port and a Bluetooth connector. Although I guarantee you there are ones out there that do.
I guarantee you there's one out there where you can fix the settings via Bluetooth on your phone.
There's one that King George was talking about that was like a $10,000, some ultra special, expensive standalone bidet system, and it's sold in Japan. and it had like an entire console of bullshit while you're sitting there getting your ass cleaned. And it's just like, why?
I forget which cartoon group it was that had them going off on this expensive toilet they bought.
Your mother's plays music. It has Bluetooth. Spray, 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 spray. Sorry.
We have definitely descended into a location none of us envisioned going to.
Yeah,
so
we're really plumbing.
Let's move away from it. Let's leave the bidet.
Look, I was going to skip past the bidet, but you demanded to know about the bidet, well, so now you know about the bidet.
I may get one to surprise my wife and set that up to the high setting, see what happens.
It does have a feminine mode, but I won't go any further into that.
That's probably a wise decision.
You can go look at it in the live chat if you're interested. If not, don't worry about it. We'll stop now. We'll stop. And Paul will hear Donna scream from a city away. Oh, anyway.
Oh my goodness.
2024 is turning out truly great for DRS bidets, howling girls, and now feminine mode.
So wait a minute. Feminine mode. So are we going to have...
Stop!
No, this has nothing to do with the bidet. So if we've got this AI intelligence inhabiting a body, does it have a feminine mode? I need to know.
I think that entirely depends on your definition of feminine, because that is a continuum. So the problem is you'd have to train it. You'd have to train what feminine mode is, and it'd have to have a wealth of examples, and probably by the end of it, it's going to be,
here's
we
what
don't
you
know
do.
what that is.
Here's what you do. You train it on episodes of Maude. And after it gets that...
I am not sure that Maude is a great definition of feminine mode.
No. I'm thinking Battle Axe mode, okay? You train it on Maude. You find it all these shows and TV series and everything else where it's just sarcastic, cutting, but very good at what it does.
So if you go ahead and put the AI into feminine mode, and it says, male, kiss my grits, then obviously you did it wrong.
Male, kiss my grits.
Mel.
Oh, Mel. Male,
kiss my grits.
I wonder how many of our viewers, listeners even got that reference. Of course, I'm the one who brought up Maude, and that's kind of been dead for a long time.
Even taking it to a serious mode with that, I can see having a robotic being that has different modes of operation. One of them being not necessarily feminine mode, but one that's more working with others, more finding common ground. And then you've got the time to bash heads in mode. It's completely different.
What's really unfortunate is there's a show called Raised by Wolves. What's unfortunate about it is they didn't continue it, but it kind of has that idea of the androids more or less changing how they function based on what their purpose is at that time. Are they raising the children? Are they protecting the children? Are they scouting or anything like that? So I can definitely see I can definitely see a situation where you might have an android that is going to have multiple modes of function, like you're describing, for that very purpose. Because, I mean, think about how a butler in a busy household, who doesn't have a lot of assistants, treats everybody and has to do things. The deference changes a little bit. They may be a little bit more personal and warming with the children than they are necessarily with the adults. I mean, it all kind of depends on how it works out. So I don't think there'd be any difference. I don't think there'd be any change from that.
I want Alfred as my butler. Nothing else will do.
Alfred J. Prufrock or Albert Pennyworth?
No. I'm saying which version, which movie or comic or television version of Alfred do you
The one played by Jeremy Irons, I think.
Really? You don't want the Michael Caine version?
I kind of like Jeremy Irons better.
Or, now I gotta make me put down my yarn. Now I gotta look something up. Who was it?
Now she's going to look up what exactly. When was he in Alfred? I don't remember that.
Wasn't he? Are you talking the one she mentioned? I think
the
it was
one you
back
mentioned.
in. Oh, it was the most
Michael
recent
Caine
one.
was the
wasn't it?
Alfred in the Dark Knight
Christopher
trilogy.
Nolan's. Yeah. Damn, Terry, you gonna snort some cocaine while you're out there too?
Yes.
Crunch, 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 crunch. Paul's
Or
describing your
there's
average
also-
mother.
Or do you want the from Gotham, the Sean Pertwee version? Because
No. Jeremy Irons. I think he's the kind of guy. He's got a mouth on him. I like him.
Michael Go? Oh, he was with Keaton. Okay, all right. Gotcha. That's a really good question, though, regarding the Android stuff. I hadn't really thought about that.
I hadn't either. It's something I'm definitely going to keep in mind in the next series that I start writing, because I think that would be a good thing to implement.
it would be societal too, because other, especially non-Western societies, there's far more
Protocol.
Yeah, far more protocol and differentiation between different levels
Social
and
groups.
roles, and even within families and within friend groups, depending upon age and experience.
And just think if your AI butler got locked into an improper mode. And I'm thinking of Kato.
Must bash heads with children. Must bash.
No,
Come
no.
on, children, let's go bash heads.
I'm thinking that Kato attacking his master at every turn, diving out of Clouseau stuff. Kato?
God. Oh my God, we got mod references in Pink Panther and Flo. What the hell are we doing here?
Revisiting our youth, I think.
There's some serious near boomer, references here. I'm just sitting back going,
near boomer. I'm pretty sure we are fully immersed in boomer.
I was trying to be
Green Acres is the place to be.
Welcome to 1975 chat.
Yeah, and you're seeing Green Acres. I'm like, I know the whole theme song.
Let's see. Back then, we had 5 channels. We had 3 major networks, and we had 2 locals that you had to get on the UVHF back here in Houston. Where
2.5 channels where I grew up.
Say you had 2 channels in snow.
I think I remember 4. 4? No, 5. 5 if you count a PBS, which is the only thing I was allowed to watch.
If you count PBS, because we had CBS, NBC. ABC, PBS, KRIV, and KUHF, or whatever that other one was. Man. So we watched a lot of reruns, folks. A lot of reruns, because there wasn't shit else on.
Syndicated television was a thing.
It was the only thing.
The commercial's here. You've got 60 seconds to take care of your business and get back to the TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that doesn't fly no more. Now you got 3 minutes to go away. 3 to 5 seems like God.
It does seem
or
that
you
way,
can
doesn't
just
it?
hit pause and then catch up with the live later and skip the commercials entirely.
If it'll let you fast forward through them.
Now let's talk about the majority of the boobies that PBS showed. Most of them were not those kind
Artistic.
of boobies. Not even artistic. 66 of your bidet. Brett, stop. Channel 44 out of Tampa. What the dog? WTOG. The dog. I love it. So this is an interesting part. If you go back and I was thinking about this because I watched the series The Terror, the AMC series, which was fantastic. It's about a expedition to find the Northwest Passage in 1846. And the 2 ships in question disappeared. So it's a great series, but it's based on Dan Simmons's The Terror, the book. And I hadn't read the book. So while I was doing things this week, we seem to go on forever for the parents. I read a 937-page book in 2.5 days. Just absolutely obliterated it. And it was so much fun because I didn't know the characters. The series characters are almost nothing like the book's characters. I knew names, but the actual way they functioned, radically different. It was almost as though it was the same story that started and then completely diverged, and yet still hit a lot of the same high points. And I'd love to write an essay detailing all of that, but it would have to be spoiler freaking rific. All I can say is I heartily recommend you read Dan Simmons's The Terror if you're interested in a really well done period piece. Very well done. And it's magical realism, fantastical realism. I don't know how to describe it.
Historical fiction?
It is historical fiction, but it's historical fantastical because it's all made up after they only had certain facts, and then basically the ships disappeared and there's nothing. They only recently found the wrecks. There was no information detailing what happened.
They've taken liberties with what they think might have occurred. It's not like there's magic involved.
Right. Well, no. What might have occurred involves magical stuff.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I'll leave it at that. So it was a really well done series. It was a really well done book. I love them both for completely different reasons. And I was thinking about this today. I love the characters better from the series. I like the plot better from the book.
Seems valid.
If that makes any sense at all.
No, and that makes perfect sense because there are plenty of times where I'll find a TV series and realize it was based on a book series, and I'll go pick up the book and I'll realize that there are aspects of the pacing or the setting that the book does better, but the TV show or movie manages the characterization better. And so it's finding it's derivative work, and you figure out which one you want to hold in your head as the original and which one you want to figure out as derivative and go from there.
Rick, I'm sure what happened didn't include any magic. What happens in the stories, however, does.
Mm-hmm.
Since they've recently found the wrecks, we're pretty sure what both happened. The ice crushed both ships and sank them both. The only question is who was aboard when it happened. JR asks, what is on everybody's 2024 plan? For me, it is to publish again, get more words a day, and learn marketing. Oh my God.
My answer to JR is, that's what we talked about last week. You should go listen to last week's episode.
It is. So I did two things, two bigger, like in time investment things for this year. I found, and one of this came about after 20 books. I found Becca Syme's Patreon. And she's an author coach. She is a really big name in the author coaching community. She does a bunch of self-guided courses, and there's a lot of stuff out there. And her foundation is as a strengths coach based upon, what is it? When I learned about it, it was the Strengths Finder 2.0, and it's been rebranded. But essentially it's leaning into your strengths, and the idea being not like bolster up the things that you're weak at, but spend less time on the things that you're weak at and really push towards the thing that you're very good at, because you're going to get a better return if you practice what you're good at. There's a lot more to it. Anyway, so I pledged, I think, $1 a month, maybe $2 to her Patreon. And that gives me access to a bunch of self-guided courses. There's one on marketing for introverts. So I was just like, yay, I love this. I'll do it in the comfort of my own home without anyone else. And there's a bunch of other stuff. But for me, I like the resource, and I like the reading and pulling and figuring out what works, because there's very little that's out there just for narrators. Mm-hmm. And so I've got to figure out what I can take from the publishing world and kind of rework and use for myself. But then I can also take what's there, and as I'm working on my own stuff, set out the plans. And then the second thing I did was I put down a bit of money for my own, kind of like my education for the year, my coaching. and joined a creative, what is it's called? The website is called Starving Artist No More. And the idea being there's a community and there are resources to help you as a creative entrepreneur to set yourself up so that you're not a starving artist. You're a thriving artist. And the person who runs that, Jennifer Gillaraya, she's an audiobook narrator, she's an author, she's a professional cellist and voice teacher, but she's made her living out of creative ventures. And she does wonderful lectures. I actually have her teaching for Pan Academy later in the month. But I figured, you know what, for easily what I spend on, a couple audiobooks, it's like, yeah, I can join the community and there are other narrators there and there are guided challenges and stating goals, but it's a community of folks who share a lot of the same larger like categories of goals about getting your business moving and working on self-marketing, and for narrators reaching out to producers. But I just needed more accountability, and I needed more accountability with people who don't have traditional jobs, because look, for those who are not watching and who can just hear the scrunch and static, Julius has arrived.
And just to completely derail the show.
Of course, because that's Julius. But I think that's important, that whatever, if you're looking for something to help you with your goals, find sources that best resemble where you are, with who you are, your lifestyle. Like, I learned long ago, I get nothing from books from some self-made in air quotes 30-something entrepreneur who isn't married, doesn't have kids, has never had to deal with up all nights and washing spit up stains out of the car and then having to go into work and balancing everything, because they can't sympathize. And a lot of goal setting and getting to where you need to be, you need to sometimes you need a model, and not everyone can model everybody else. Except for Julius, who currently is modeling a large fluffy 1920s stole.
Rick says at 30, I was up all night sometimes, and once in a while I had to wash up vomit.
And that was just because he was drinking so much.
My own, of course.
And that's okay. I've had the times where I'm like, okay, so I literally have 5 minutes to get from the car through the mudroom hallway into the kitchen, put the kid down, and then figure out what I'm going to do for dinner. And in those 30 seconds of transit, I now have the added bit of, I get to wash spit up out of my hair, or at least rinse it because I don't have time to wash it, and then I'll just deal with it later.
Yeah.
It's a unique experience.
I have not had that experience.
I don't recommend it. I really don't.
How many did you have?
I had 3 kids, and all had very interesting.
So when I say I didn't have one, you said good idea. You did it 3 times. You didn't learn your lesson the first time?
They're cute.
For fuck's sake. This is
and they howl like wolves, apparently.
They howl like wolves. She's raising wolves in there, man. I've seen them. They're huge.
I am. I do. They are. Yeah.
And they root for a bad hockey team. They root for a bad hockey team. It's just sad.
Being as she's the little ginger.
I'm sorry.
Maybe you should use that AI thing and do a wolf with just the ginger hair, the wolf ginger.
The wolf ginger. The red wolf.
Yeah. No. And yeah, JR says my youngest had colic. Yep, I had so the time when I started writing, when I started writing and podcasting with Secret World Chronicle back in 2006, I was doing that, and I was narrating. So I was narrating episodes. My son, who's now 17, was 8 months old. He had croup, which, if you're not familiar with that, it's a very barky cough, and humid environments make it worse. So you have to be up all night. And the bonus was we have a big separate stand-up freezer. And so I'd have to stand up, strip this child down to a diaper, have a blanket around him, like over his shoulders, but stand in front of the freezer because that was dry, cold air that would help keep him from coughing. 2 a.m.
I was totally thinking you were going to put him in the freezer. That's where I thought this story was going.
There are some days.
There were probably some nights
when I think about doing that. There are still some days. I'm not sure he'd fit right now.
You're going to need a really big freezer now. You're going to need a walk-in freezer for that.
He does work at a supermarket, so. You
ever see that picture that's had the thing of freezer, this cubic foot, this size family, this cubic foot, this size family?
Yes.
The whole serial killer thing.
Yep. Yeah, it's
Lord of the Flies in the Jake Eric house.
But it really is. There is a time and there's a season for everything. I think that's kind of what I'm getting at. And it's impossible to set your goals and expectations when it's not going to be feasible at that point. So you kind of, some years, some quarters, you've got to draw back and just kind of go, look, I can only accomplish these 3 things on, any given week. And that's okay, because inevitably stuff is going to shift and change. It might change for the better, it might change for the worse, but it's going to change, and you're going to have to change with it. And as someone who's really bad with change, that's really frustrating.
Rolling with change is hard, but as an independent person doing work for ourselves, we don't really have a choice. Life is going to deal us whatever it's going to deal us, and we have to either roll with it or be rolled over by it. And sadly, sometimes you're rolled over by it, and then you just have to pick yourself up and find a way to step back into the work.
Yep. Sometimes you are the Zamboni driver, sometimes you're the ice.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
I'd rather be Deadpool than the guy on the ice.
Yeah, this is very true. You were talking about advice earlier, and advice is always the same. It's never specific to you. It's always specific from somebody's point of view. So take what it's worth and apply it however you can or however you want, or ignore it completely. But at least if you talk to people about what they're doing, even if they mention something that won't work for you, the bottom line is it might strike something that will work for you. It'll help you out, or maybe get you over the hump of what your problem is. Whatever it might be. A Zamboni is that thing that comes along and basically refreshes the ice on an ice rink,
so that the hockey players can go beat the teeth out of each other.
Yes, exactly.
There was a game last night where there were over 80 minutes of penalties, and
wow.
I think there were 4 10-minute majors.
What game was that?
I'm trying to remember. Oh, it was Devils Blackhawks. Go look that shit up. It was insane. The entire second period, everybody was hugging. I mean, there were like 4 people in each box. It was nuts.
No, I'm sorry. You have to if you want a good one, you have to go look up the Panthers Senators game, where at one point it was like 10 minutes. Everybody who was on the ice, that's it. It was beautiful.
It's bad. It was bad. There were reasons why that happened last night, because refs suck. But wow. It was nuts. Yeah. So
Anyway.
Zamboni. Zamboni.
Yeah.
Wonder what song
But
that was.
to be fair, I think one of the best pieces of advice, and it comes out from what you were saying that you were doing, Paul, figure out those like chunks of things. And if you can make that work portable, make it portable. And if you can't make it portable, then try to give yourself, don't multitask. Give yourself that focused time to do like one thing. And if you just do that one thing for 15 minutes, at least you've done that one thing.
Like I said last week, it's about focusing. It's about finally saying once and for all, I can't multitask. So I have 4 things to do, really huge projects. I got to knock them out one at a time. And I can't do anything else until I get that done. Period. What are you laughing about?
When you said, I've got these 3 things to do, I immediately had a vision of Moses going, I've got these 15 commandments. Crash! 10 commandments! 10 commandments!
Oh, Mel Brooks, we love you so much.
Oh.
So much. Yeah, I will not be dropping any of those 4. They got to happen this year. So it's got to go. And that's what I got to focus on. Everything else takes the back seat. And the sooner I get that done, the sooner I can go play with whatever book it is I'm going to go play with. But I have to start finishing.
But when you set that priority and you're like, look, I'm going to hit this benchmark today and I'm going to take the time and focus on it, and you get stuff done, it like works. Like I finished an 8-hour book in 3.5 days. And it was pretty good. I mean, Paul would be the best Moses ever in a movie. Stuff would be rated R, and you would have like, what the fuck is up with these waves? What is up with the waves? I can see sharks here. Why the fuck are there sharks in the Red Sea?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Yahweh or Jehovah is going to strike you with lightning for even mentioning that. That's just what I'm going to say right there. Let's pick one, either one. Tell God to fuck off. Yeah. You know what? Job was a pussy. He should have told God to go fuck himself. He shouldn't have said, why are you doing this to me? He should have said, you know what? Fuck you. That's what he should have done. What a pussy.
Go back to your garbage heap. Go back to the garbage heap. Just sit. Sit.
The first commandment is love the cats.
This is why we can't have nice things. When are we getting the Cooley and Mixon co-author book? Probably never.
That's a long off project.
Terry's got another 15 to 7. He's got 2 more books to finish in this series too, right?
3 more books to finish in this series.
And then you're going to have another 10 to 15 book series coming in.
Another 15 book series coming in behind it.
Yeah, he's not going to have time to deal with my shit.
I've got book 15 in the Empire series written. I can't find the time to read it to get it off to the editor.
Yeah.
I've got to make time to make that happen so that I can get it off into somebody else's hands. I am pretty packed up when it comes to writing stuff.
Yeah, so when you ask
maybe I need a writing bidet. That's what I need. A writing colonoscopy and a bidet to help clean up my writing career.
Just let the words flow.
How is shooting water up your anus going to help you write? That's my. You know what?
That's the editing process.
There's a dangling participle. Turn up the full blast. Can Donna help you with the book editing?
No, we discovered that very early in my writing career. No, she cannot. Because she puts way too much red ink on that page, and I am not interested in seeing it. Her idea of editing, to be fair, it infringed upon my authorial voice, and I couldn't quite make her understand that wasn't working out for me. So yeah, there's a certain skill to it.
I've got the same problem with Carrie, only Carrie knows that's what she'll do, and so she won't do it. She won't edit because my style drives her nuts. Although my style has evolved a lot over the last 10 years. So maybe something more modern, more recent would be a better experience. But the bottom line is, it's just, it doesn't work, so we don't do it.
Nobody in my house wants to listen or read what I put together.
It's much easier to go ahead and pay Red Adept to do that. Really.
Yeah, pretty much. We got a couple minutes here left. So what are we doing?
Well, we'll throw this up here, and that should go ahead and eat up the last of this.
Uh-oh. What are you throwing up there?
It's right there on the screen.
Does that mean it's like you can write on it? Like it's a dry erase sort of thing? Or...
That's kind of my question. What is that exactly?
Or is that just so you can sit and focus on your writing and not have to be distracted with other stuff? I mean...
Maybe we need to have an episode on the appropriate snackage for writers in progress.
Oh,
writers in progress.
You're
snackage.
Assuming some of us eat when we write. It's just usually like more coffee, ginger ale, coffee.
Yes, and by the end you look like Doc Brown.
Paul went from killing everyone outright to letting the black play with them first. You know, there's some truth in that. Who would be your dream guest for 2024? I'm not sure I want to put anybody through the three of us. I mean, you know, it's pretty bad here. It's a bad place. We're completely unprofessional. Why the hell would anybody want to come on this show? There you go.
Well, we could always invite George R. R. Martin, but then the show would never finish.
Oh, see, this is why we can't have people on. This shit right here is why we can't have people on. What else you got, people? Who would be the dream guest? OSC? Why? How about somebody who's not almost 1 foot in the grave?
He is getting up there in age.
He's got to be way up there in age.
Yeah.
He's got to be way up there. Xander, you want to be a guest in this show? You're insane.
See, he was born in 1951, so that makes him... That's not too bad. He's mid-70s.
He's up there. Well, we always have this... We'd love to hear McCumber back on. That's going to take a
challenging
that I'm unaware of. It's been a while, and I'm thinking that maybe he's not in his best shape right now. So
it's been a while.
You know, now that we're a video podcast, it'd be bad enough
if it was audio. 3-part harmony and summon him, and he would come here, and then he'd be like, "You guys suck. I'm going home."
Movies! Movies! Terry's shaking his head because he knows I'm right.
You're totally right, as a matter of fact.
Oh my God. On that note, we need to do some business here, which is we need to take care of some things, which is to say, if you enjoyed the show and you have a comment, you can send an email to show@devrobotssociety.com. You can find me on Mastodon at Paul_E_Cooley at BYRSE.social. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/DRS podcast, where we are live every Saturday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. CST. Come join us, like and subscribe so you always know when we put some goofy stuff up. And if you want to support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/DRS podcast and buymeacoffee.com/DRS podcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive live shows, which is coming up in 10 minutes. DRS Live After Dark.
Where, since we weren't so shy about talking colostomies, Lord knows what we're going to talk about next.
I truly am scared. I may need to take a shot of whiskey or something to get through that. So, at the $10 level, you get your name read. Our $10 patrons are Tony L. Joy, Rick Shaw, Lisa Slack, Isabel Cushy, and Tim Niederreiter. Thank you to all of our patrons for making this show possible. And with that, we are out of here. Have a great week. And we'll see some of y'all in just a few minutes. And keep writing, keep going, and fuck 2024. That note.